sandali lang. Let me just adjust my camera. And siguro, while we're waiting, let me just put on my lapel because napindot ko yung go live without putting in my mic. So, let me just put in my mic para hindi masyado maingay yung yung fan natin dun sa background. Okay, so anyway, let me just adjust it a little bit here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel. We're quite surprised that we're actually going to have this live stream this evening because this is not a planned one, especially with the announcement on the Miss Universe web portal of the national directorship na applications. Actually, I believe that this was posted siguro mga a couple of days. Wala lang masyadong nakapansin siguro. But apparently, the Miss Universe organizations have already posted in their website yung mga requirements ng Miss Universe national directors and non-affiliated na mga persons and private entities on how to, apply for for the directorship. Okay? So, before we begin pala, let's welcome everyone muna. Ping is here. Sabi niya, magandang gabi, Sir Jason, at sa inyong lahat. Winnicott is also here. Sabi niya, good evening, mga Beshi Wap. There's increasing numbers among everyone here. So, before we continue, before we begin with the full, topics that we're going to be discussed, may I ask everyone to please leave a like, leave a thumbs up in the live stream today para mas marami yung makakita ng ating live stream, and the algorithm of YouTube will push this content to more people. Okay? Jester PL is here. Sabi niya, good evening, Sir Jess. Nag-dinner ka na ba? Kasi mahabang session na naman ito. I love it. Actually, hindi pa. I am, I had a very heavy na merienda. Let's just say merienda cena. That's around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So I think that's more than enough. Medyo marami nga tayong pag-uusapan dahil medyo maraming requirements, I believe, na kinakailangan natin na i-discuss with our live stream this evening. There's a lot of, a lot of details that needs to be talked about and discussed because of the requirements on the national director application. Okay, so let me just give me a second to medyo adjust our camera. Medyo hindi ko type yung height ng camera natin. So there. Okay, tumabingin naman siya. Dali lang. Let me, how about this? Okay. Okay. Ayan. Medyo, I think that's fine. I think this is fine. Medyo naano lang ako, nawala akong leeg. Syempre, the neck is the part of the face. Okay, Don Oregon Vlog is here. Sabi niya, maray nabanggi sa imo at sa nanood sa live. I'm always rooting for your life. Thank you, Don Oregon Vlog. Thank you very much for the encouragement. Okay, so ano ngayon yung pag-uusapan natin? So essentially, what we're going to be discussing are the process on the national directorship na application, because in the Miss Universe website, there is a list of duties and responsibilities that is being not just discussed, but rather that is being laid out by the Miss Universe organization for anybody and everybody who is wanting to become a national director. Ibig sabihin, ito yung parang paglalahad nila on what are the things that you are going to be expecting if you're going to become a national director should your application, pushes through and gets approved. There is also a process on how to become a national director, from your applications, from the background checks, to the interviews, to the presentation on the applicant's part on yung plans on the business aspect of running the pageant, how large the organization they plan to have for their organization for Miss Universe, whichever country that they're applying for. There is also a section there where they imposed, or rather they made public, kailan yung start ng applications, what are the deadlines, and what are the schedules that and timetables that they need to pay attention to. And there is also a portion there where in the application where there is a set of questionnaires that will be talked and will be discussed with the prospective na mga applicants on how are they going to do their, let's say, their organization. So ito yung mga backgrounder on the applicant, ano yung mga businesses that they handle, ano yung kanilang mga profit and loss na mga statements, how are they going to be, to be laying out the pageant, what networks or streaming services that they plan for their, pageant to be broadcasted over, ano yung plans nila for their winners. So lahat yun nakalahad doon sa national director applications. Okay, sorry, may ayan, siguro tama naman na yung height nito kasi still parang mukhang tabingi yung camera. Okay, so there are comments here. John C is present. Hello, sabi niya. Hello, John C. Saldi Salen is here. Good evening, Sir Jess. Do you think it will be a bloodbath in the Philippines? Who do you think will be the would-be bidders? As of the moment, of course, yung current org is gunning for it for another turn at the what do you call this, at the pageant na franchise. However, I've been hearing someone actually told me, although this is in the territory of chismis pa lang, that there is a political and rich business family that is thinking of bidding and taking over the franchise here in the Philippines. Hindi ko alam kung sino itong family na ito. Hindi pa napapangalanan sa akin. But we're keeping our ears on the ground because it seems that yung current organization has competition. So they really need to amp it up if ever that they're going to be bidding for the license once again. Ayan. Winnicott says, Madam Stella Araneta or Madam Cory Corina hopefully will submit their bids. Let's wait and see. Wala pa akong naririnig na mga names, na mga prominent names on who's bidding, but I've heard na there is one political and business family that is eyeing to bid for the franchise. So that might be a welcome development because it will essentially, the more competitors that you have, it is still much better kesa wala. John C says, I hope maging matalino na si Kun Ann kung kanino ibibigay ang franchise, na wala pang matagalan, na wala pang matagalang at may future talaga, yung verifiable sana. Okay, pag-uusapan natin yan because apparently, one of the things that they're going to do this year is that there will be having several rounds of interviews and background check for the applicants. So, ibig sabihin nito, hindi siya magiging mabilisang proseso because if they're going to have several rounds of interviews, from the description on the, what do you call this, in the website that I'm looking at, it looks like there will be at least 2 or 3 interviews for the prospective na, what do you call this, for the prospective na national director applicants. So, it means that if in case that it will push through, magkakaroon ng layers and tiers on how they are going to proceed with, individual applicants. So, definitely, importante dito na prepared yung mga applicants. Alam nila kung ano yung kanilang business model. They should know what are their plans, their marketing strategies, their business strategies in order for them to be convincing in terms of their application for the Miss Universe license because hindi ito magiging biro. Because in today's live stream, I will just want to add that there is going to be like 4 points that I want to make sure to give spotlight on. So the first one is that the Miss Universe organization has the right to conduct audits and background checks on the applicants. Ibig sabihin, aside from the application, they will be doing the interview, yes, but they will also do background checks on the individual so that perhaps learning from the experience that they had this year on certain organizations where there had been some issues on pageant rigging, issues on harassment, issues on sexual, innuendos and messages to candidates. They have learned perhaps that there is a need for them to do their due diligence in terms of making sure they vet for these incoming national directors as explicitly as as accurately as they possibly could, para hindi sila magkaroon ng mga issues on like the one that we're currently having with the Miss Universe Indonesia license holder, where now things are escalating to the point that the government, a minister, has made a statement that if this is worse than they imagined, based on their investigations later on, they might start just banning pageants in Indonesia. So, ganun siya kalala. So, which means that Miss Universe, the Miss Universe organization really wants to protect their business, wants to protect their brand so that they don't have this kind of mga problems, because this is very damaging not only to pageantry itself but specifically for their brand in whatever territories that their brand has scandals like this. This is also the reason why very swift yung paglagay nila doon sa kanilang mga listahan na kung ano ang mangyayari sa application process, na magkakaroon ng audits and background checks dahil ayaw siguro nilang mangyari yung mga nangyayari ngayon. They cannot afford to make mistakes like this because again, it will be detrimental to their brand. The second point that I wanted to reiterate in this live stream today is that the Miss Universe is going to be an application process. So what does that mean? It means that there will be the process of applying in paper, making your intentions known that you want to be a national director for the Miss Universe license for your country. And then this will be followed by a payment, because it says in their application that any prospective organization, entity, whether it's a for-profit or a non-profit organization or a private entity who wants to apply to get the license for the Miss Universe organization in their country, they would have to pay a non-refundable 1,000 US dollars an application fee. And this application fee, they say, is going to be used in alignment to what they want to have a cleaner set of national directors by paying siguro investigators to do audits and background checks on all of the applicants, all of the prospective applicants. So, ibig sabihin nito, mag-a-apply ka pa lang, magbabayad ka na. So, this is not something that is going to be very cheap or easy to do so. If you want to apply, you need to pay first. You need to make sure that you are willing to shell out money on just the intention to apply. So, dito, in this process, they are now able to weed out those who are not serious with the application process, because 1,000 US dollars in other countries is quite a hefty amount. Here in the Philippines, I think that would translate to around 50,000, around 55 to 55 point something thousand na pesos. So, medyo may what do you call this? Medyo may kamahalan yung fee na you would have to pay. And if you are not serious, if you are not, if you are not, what do you call this? If your heart and your intentions are not there, it's not clear, then magwawalas ka lang sa wala. So it doesn't make sense that way. So if the application fee is too much for you, hindi ka mangangahas na mag-a-apply. Kung tingin mo larotchi lang to, hindi ito yung tipong hindi seryosong usapan. The mere fact that they are going to ask you upfront to pay for the application fee that might not even push through if your application is rejected, it says something about they mean serious business. So it means for prospective applicants out there that if you're serious with the Miss Universe franchise, then you should be willing to pay up, to pony up, the required na application fee of 1,000 US dollars. And the application actually starts this August, this month, and will end in September 30th, which is, a month or so before the Miss Universe pageant in El Salvador. That means that throughout this month, any prospective na mga organizations or entities would really need to make sure that they prepare for in all aspects for their application for the license, because they will be needing to have business reports, business strategies, marketing strategies, and branding strategies in order for them to be reviewed later by the Miss Universe organization. Dahil doon sa document that is attached on their website, it tells here several application question interviews that are very much very much pertinent in the way that they do business with you. So ibig sabihin nito, hindi ka pwedeng basta-bastang susulong dito nang hindi ka preparado. Kinakailangan you understand what are your plans for the organization, for the brand, for your winners, because everything here has to be in detail. Okay? So, Let's highlight first some of the questions that really needs to be discussed or that really needs to be thought out in terms of the entire application period. First thing here is that you need to, you need to show them or tell them whether or not you plan your pageant business to be a for-profit or a non-profit entity, because each of these two different entities would yield different strategies in the business side. How are you going to, what do you call this? How are you going to generate income, generate interest for your pageant? Kung for-profit ka, which follows the Miss USA organization, then you would need to have partner organization, smaller partner organizations per state, or in our case, per province or per city, and they will be paying to you a sort of a license fee for within your country. So in our case, if you are from Cebu, from, let's say, Cagayan de Oro, you can apply for a Miss Universe Philippines Cagayan de Oro license to whoever is going to be the license holder in the Philippines later on. So the local organization here will pretty much tell you how much is the licensing fee that they will be charging you in order for you to pay these fees to get the copyrights, to get the license, the local, regional license in your area, in your province, or in your municipality. That means that kinakailangan you have an understanding of how to generate income, generate revenue, how to do a marketing plan role or marketing strategy in order for you to income generate. So that meron kang IGP na tinatawag or income generating na project. So usually this comes in the form of pageants, the finals, where you can sell tickets, you can sell what do you call this? You can sell VIP tickets, you can get sponsors, and etc. So that is pretty much for the for-profit aspect. Now, if you are a non-profit entity, you're pretty much following much of the Binibining Pilipinas business model, where you generate income through sales for your finals and sponsorship. Ang difference nito is that you are not as heavily taxed as for the for-profit na organization as compared for the non-profit na entity. However, as a non-profit na entity, you have limited ways in the way that you income generate. So you really have to be very careful that you don't you don't go over the line that the SEC will tell you in terms of how you can generate this business and revenue for your organization. So that is the first one of the first things that you need to be able to explain and tell the Miss Universe organization on your application. The second is you need to understand yung relevance ng business planning, because here you need to be able to discuss with them a projected profit and loss study for 2024, because you need to be able to convince them that I can generate income, hindi ako default on my payments to the MUO should magkaroon ng aberya on my finances, because ultimately they want to award the license to an entity that has that is what we call financially stable or solvent, meaning may cash at hand, may pera, dahil ayaw nila na tatakbuhan na lang sila at mag-ghosting na lang yung organization kapag hindi makapagbayad yung local na partners. This is in protection to the organizations themselves. Also, in that same in that same note, you have to have um, like a pledge to the Miss Universe business on how much investment are you willing to put into the MUO business. You also have to be able to tell them and discuss with them how big your organization is, ano yung manpower na you are going to be needing to run your organization, so that alam nila kung kaya mo bang sweldohan based on your profit and loss na statement, kung kaya mo ba silang tustusan long term. Kasi kung wala kang income generating na activity or project that can long term sustain your organization's viability, hindi nila ibibigay sa iyo yung what do you call this, yung license, because there is a what do you call this, there is a statement or there is a question in the application questions na kinakailangan mong ilahad sa kanila kung ang pambayad mo ng iyong franchise fee is either non-gifted, non-borrowed, or non-retirement funds. What does that, ano yung ibig sabihin nito? It means that hindi ibinigay lang sa'yo yung pera to pay your franchise fee. It means that you should be able to generate the income yourself in terms of your payments for your franchise fee. It cannot be something that is gifted, because it could open up the organization for money laundering na future cases if your franchise fee is gifted or just given to you. So that is protecting again the Miss Universe organization, so that they don't get these nasty, scandals later on that a local organization is being funded by drug money, by prostitution money, by money that is not legally earned. So that is the importance of this part of the statement. So the next thing is that it should be non-borrowed, meaning hindi siya utang. It's not a loan. You did not loan for it so that you're able to obtain the franchise fee, because if it is loaned, then it means that you are not financially stable to sustain the business long term. So that's the second thing that you need to be able to understand in the wordage and the verbiage used in the franchise license application questionnaire. And third, it's not non-retirement fund, meaning it's not something that should be coming from your retirement funds, meaning hindi siya galing SSS or GSIS, because it means that you're no longer working if that's the case. So this is something that we need to be we need to be looking at, because there is very specific wordings that sa tingin natin on our case that these are just not important in the grand scheme of things. However, when you nitpick at the wordings that's used in their questionnaires that they will be using in their interviews later on to you as a applicant, they will get a hint on whether or not you're going to be a good partner long term. Kasi what the Miss Universe organization needs to be able to look at is long-term viability of the local pageant organizations in their respective countries. So that's the thing. So in Tagalog, tatalogalawin na natin, hindi siya pwedeng utang, hindi siya pwedeng hiniram, hindi siya pwedeng ibinigay, hindi siya pwedeng retirement fund. So ganun siya ka-specific when it comes to the questions that they're going to ask of you as a prospective applicant. Because again, these things could open up the organization to a can of, of worms when nagkaroon ng iskandalo kung saan nanggaling yung perang pinambayad sa kanila dahil ultimately, pwedeng ikasira yun ng kanilang brand. Okay? Now, the deadline for applications is going to be on the 30th of September. So essentially, the hopefuls, the applicants for the ND position and license have approximately around 6 weeks to be able to submit their intention for the application process. And the interviews, the virtual interviews will be starting September 15. So yung mga nag-submit na ng buwan nito, this August, they might be getting, their interviews around September 15 onwards. And then they will be pausing at around November, October, November perhaps, for the review, because that's the Miss Universe season. So they will probably pick up later towards the end of the year and announce whoever is going to have the official license and announce that at around December. So ibig sabihin, if they have placed in their, in their, what do you call this, in their website that as it says here, final decisions will be made in December 2023. It means that there is no confirmation yet on who gets the franchise for 2024 for any of the national organizations. So perhaps all of the national organizations as of this moment for this year are safe. But to assume that they already have the license for next year, that is a risky gamble, because it says here on their websites that they will make their final decisions at around December. So if, for example, there is a national organization for perhaps in Thailand or the Philippines or the US or let's say in Mexico that says that they have the 2024 license for them, then that might be conditional still, because it says on the Miss Universe website that the final decision is going to be done in December of 2023. So the what do you call this? The how to say this? The final decision is not yet made, and whoever says that they have the license for 2024, it might be a conditional license. So we all know that with a business entity like Miss Universe like this, they will not make public unless they are already sure of what they're going to say, who are their partners for the Miss Universe 2024 edition. So let's just be clear on that. It is not, we cannot assume that any what do you call this, any organization, local, national organization has the license unless it's the Miss Universe organization who will officially announce it. And they won't do that until the pageant in El Salvador is finished, and they might do that, sometime in December as per their website. Okay? Ayan, let's take a pause, take a break na from the discussion, and I want to jump muna on the comment section and look at some of your comments. Okay? Nasa na ba tayo nahuli? Okay, so Winnicott retracted yung kanyang message. John Snow 79 says, "Hi Jason, parang palabas lang naman mga criteria for judging kung kanino mapupunta ang franchise. Ending naman, friendships at close peeps lang mapupunta franchise. Marami namang bansa na wala na pake." Let's see if how strong is their vetting process now, especially with the current scandal in Indonesia, where there is a possibility, if their local authorities find that there is merit to the case, there's merit to the harassment case in the MUID na pageant, pwedeng either they would ban Muslim women to join the pageant, they would protest the pageants being held in their countries, or ban them altogether. So we're just gonna wait and see what will happen with this Miss Universe Indonesia scandal, and how it will be tided over in the next several weeks, how it's going to be resolved in the next several weeks. So there, I do hope that they would be more careful in terms of selection of their local, national na mga partners, because ultimately, if their local partners are shady or have ties to illegal and corrupted money, then it will backfire to the parent organization. So we don't want, we don't want that to happen, because the Miss Universe organization is not at their best. They're not at their best and strongest, brand equity as of this moment. So we do hope that all of these precautionary measures that they are putting in place is something that they can sustain long term. Okay. Nasa na ba tayo? Okay. I think it's ang haba na ng mga comments. Okay, si Mark Gonzalez sabi niya, "Good evening, Sir Jason and mga ka-scripters. Gaano raw katagal ang duration ng license per bidding war? Annual event ba? Ang hirap ng ganyan. Walang consistency sa training program and branding, etc." Mark, from what I've heard is that there is a possibility that a applicant can bid for like a lump sum of how many years, of 3 or 5 years, pero kinakailangan malaki ang show money na ipakita mo. This is not confirmed yet, but this is what I've been hearing from friends in the US na may mga connections din naman doon. They say that annual ang bidding war, but if an organization can, let's say, okay, lump sum 5 years, $10 million, this is what I am willing to commit in terms of the franchise fee for the MEO pageant, so let's talk. Pwedeng ganon. There's a possibility that they will entertain you if you're going to, tell them and deal with them and show them what are your plans long term for the organization. So, AJ ba ay may live? Super late na ba ako, Sir Jess? Anyway, I want new owner of MUPH. I want Miss World to return to Binibining Pilipinas. AJ, we just started at around 9 o'clock, 9:05, I think. It is a last minute na live stream because of what's happening doon sa bidding war, doon sa 2024, license applications for Miss Universe. Ay naisipan ko ito dahil ang daming mga nagko-comment, nagtatanong sa akin on clarification on what's going on. Bakit may 2024 bidding war na? And I think this is just because fiscal year 2024 is nearing. Malapit na kasi so kinakailangan by September or by December of this year meron ng 2024 partner siguro ang Miss Universe organization para maplano nila kung ano yung business strategies nila for the rest of the year 2024. Okay, nasan tayo? John Snow 79. Malabo naman pakulo nila. Paano na yung mga provincial winners ngayon na for next year? Wala na ba wala na pag di na sa kanila franchise. Ganun ba yun? Ibabalance pa rin nila yan kung walang nag-a-apply sa kanila. I am not sure on what's going to happen if ever that is the case. If meron ng mga regional partners ang MUPH na current organization, I am not sure if the current organization would allow their partners, their local provincial partners, to move to the new organization if in case that the new organization for 2024 is no longer the same organization this year. I have no idea how that's gonna pan out. However, they mentioned, I believe, that they also own another female pageant and another male pageant, so maybe they can have, you know, their wards be sent there. So again, I don't know how to clarify this because I don't know the arrangements for this case. Hello, The Universe. Hello. Kumusta? It's been a while since Hello, The Universe commented in our live stream. Sabi niya, ang gastos puts also MU to a lot of pressure. They need to convince bidders that MU is really worth an investment. I kind of agree, and especially in, you know, in the overall perspective of things, the bird's eye view of things. Not every pageant is profitable. So you really need to be very careful on which pageant you invest in because hindi lahat sila money makers. Don Oregon Vlog, sabi niya, si Mang Kanor bayang sa mga issues sa harassment, hehehe. There are two organizations that I am aware of that had complaints on sexual misconduct for some of their, you know, officers. This is one of those things that was complained with the Miss Brand na organization for Miss USA under Crystal Stewart's and in her you know, her husband sending sexual and inappropriate messages to past candidates. And then now the scandal that is currently unfolding in Indonesia for Miss Universe Indonesia. So let's wait and see ano yung magiging development ng MUID because I think yan yung tututukan ng buong mundo. It's still contained within Indonesia, I believe, but later on we might see it being picked up by international news outlets, especially if some ministers allegedly are now looking into the scandal. Okay, nasa na tayo? Winnicott says, only pageant crazy countries can survive this yearly bidding war. Sabi niya, very expensive. Oops, wait. I think I scrolled too fast. Very expensive, and what do you get in return? Non-placement, such a waste of money, time, and effort. That's a risk that I think any organization would have to be comfortable with. Kasi hindi guaranteed yung hindi guaranteed yung return on investment. And I think that is something na kinakailangan malakas ang loob mo, that even if your winner or your representative wins or loses, hindi nadidiscarril yung income generating mo na area of the entire pageant. Kumbaga, the business arm is not reliant on the placement of your winner in the Miss Universe in the Miss Universe finals. So, yun yung dapat na yun yung dapat yung mentality here, that you're not emotionally affected if your candidate does not make top 16 or top 15 or even top 5. So, you need to be someone that is able to compartmentalize that aspect, that the business should not be derailed because of terrible placements at the Miss Universe finals. Um, sana tayo. Okay, AJ David, yung swimsuit, two-piece floral, pang opening number, at blue and yellow, two-piece swimsuit, pang swimsuit competition sa Miss Universe. Hindi ko maintindihan tong comment mo, AJ, on the swimsuits because I haven't heard anything pa naman on sino yung magde-design ng swimsuits for Miss Universe. Okay, Jester PL, ayokong basahin yung comment mo. Pwede tayong ma-demanda dyan. So, anyway, John Snow 79, sabi niya, baka bukas makalawa, less than 50 countries na lang ang sasali sa MU. I'm not sure. Kasi there's a... Sige, basahin ko muna yung comment and there is a counter perspective I have on your comment. Okay, sabi ni John Snow 79, baka bukas makalawa, less than 50 countries na lang ang sasali sa Miss Universe. Baka mag-ala-angkol sila na nilalako na lang franchise nila para lang may contestant sila from that country. That is a very bad scenario. I think that the way that the Miss Universe organization is opening and widening their nets in terms of who can apply for the Miss Universe license in whichever country they're from is a inclusive way or is a widening of the net way to gain more partners. Kasi if before na only yung mga business entities or businesses that they are in partnership or that they are aware or that they are in the know ang nilalapitan nila for their franchising and licensing ng mga agreements. This time around, by widening the net and allowing profit for profit for non-profit na mga organization including private entities and private na mga businesses to be able to bid for the license, it allows now a possibility for smaller countries that don't have the Miss Universe license to be able to gain the license for the Miss Universe pageant in their own countries. There is a caveat to that, however, because the minimum bid or the minimum number that is included in their questionnaire doon sa interview nila is around $10,000 US. So this means that you need to be able to bid higher. You need to be able to tell them this is how much I am willing to invest on the Miss Universe business here in my country, and this is what I am willing to pay in terms of the licensing fee. So that way you don't get a applicant, a director, national director applicant na wishy-washy. So you are already being upfront that this is the minimum number in terms of the licensing agreement that we can have. Tignan mo kung kaya mong tapatan ito. So I think that's a good way of opening up, the licensing agreement to other possible entities. Okay? Hello, the universe. Wait, sir. Yung should not be loaned, gifted, nasa terms, anong exact words po? Ha. Talino din ng questionnaire. In short, dapat filter rich ka na naturales. Okay. In the comment section, in the live stream, live commentary, I am posting a link doon sa questionnaire that is from the Miss Universe organization para makita ninyo and you can review on your own time all of the questions that they posted, and this is available on their website as well. Just go to www.missuniverse.com/national director application. Yung national director application, that's a full word, no spaces in between. Okay? And then nakalagay doon yung link nung mga preview application questions, and if in case na you are if you have intention, you can just go through the questionnaires there. Okay? So, yeah. Hello the Universe, nakalagay talaga doon. Na non-gifted, non-borrowed, and non-retirement fund yung pera. Okay? So, nasaan to? JR Cell 79 says, sige lang, dapat may rep sa mga different constellations to make it more universal, kumbaga. Kinakailangan muna maghanap tayo ng life outside planet Earth para mangyari yan. Ambience Bliss, sabi niya, BBP, please, it's time to bid for your 60th next year. Tapos, mga amen na icon, na emoticon, na emojis. Hello the Universe, joint announcement na for the 60th celebration. I'm not sure if that's a direction that the Binibining Pilipinas organization is moving towards to, because may nakapag-chisi sa akin before that Binibining Pilipinas wants to retain the Binibini aspect of the pageant. So, ganun sila ka-strict doon sa terminology and ng ginagamit na word. So, who knows, maybe in the next 5 years baka magkaroon ng change in that aspect. Sabi ni EJ David, Colombia 2025 Miss Universe host, I do hope that they bid, but right now, ang naririnig kong gustong mag-host for Miss Universe 2024 is Thailand. And then I've also seen yung post ni Bradford Atkins. He's actually a close personal friend, and nabanggit niya sa akin in a chat that nabanggit during the Miss Filipina something, the one where Alden Richards and Michelle D was part of the judging panel in I think it's in California na pageant. Nabanggit nga daw na ang Miss Universe pageant, yung 24 na pageant will be held here in Manila. So, before I jump into that bandwagon, I wanted to hear more from other sources first, para hindi naman tayo kuryente. Okay? However, Bradford Atkins is a very reliable na person. I just hope na narinig niya ng tama yung announcement ni na Cher Calvin or ni na Jeannie Mai. Nasa na ba tayo? Ambience Bliss, sabi niya, hello the Universe, only Araneta's BBP are one of the altas in the Philippines. Okay, hindi ko na babasahin yung the rest kasi medyo litigious yung content. John Snow says, may matindi bang anti-money laundering investigators ang MU? Baka mawindang sila pag may investigation kung saan galing pera ng investor ng papageant. Latin American, Asia, daming sabit sa laundering. Kinda agree. Kasi madaling madaling palabasin na malaki ang lugi mo sa pageants. Na nalugi ka sa pageants. Na hindi ka nag-income generate. Na palabas lahat ng pera. Saldi Salen, based on what you are saying, it makes me extremely excited. Seems like there will be a homecoming of sort. If not, hopefully, a big media organization would make a move. EJ Belge, naimbag nga bigat mo, Jason, nakahabol din. Naragsak nga gabi, wherever you are, EJ. Thank you for joining our live stream this evening. Frankie Simon says, Sir Jason, ano ang mga businesses ni Mama J? I am not aware doon sa kanyang full extent ng kanyang business. So, what I do know that he used to have a restaurant partnership with one of the Brazilian models na under Mercator before, but nagsara after the pandemic. Meron pa rin naman siyang Mercator, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a co-partner with another person. Tapos, I don't know the rest. Kung gaano ka laki in extent yung empire na business entity. Hello, the universe. Nako, money, mas mabitimbang kaysa friendship. Diyan sa bidding and of course, integrity ng local org. Le hindi na ako magsasalita dyan. Hajiev. Okay, Hajiev is here. Sabi niya, dapat tanggalin ng mga franchise kay Poppy at Jutangera. But seriously, Anne needs to really vet their partners as some of them are currently damaging the MU brand in some countries. Let's wait and see kung anong mangyayari doon sa nangyayaring gulo doon sa mga kaibigan natin sa baba. Bin Lee, good evening, Sir Jason. Sabi ni Bin, halos lahat ng new franchise owners ng Miss U sa countries na may matagal ng track record sa old pageant organizations ay nagkakaroon ng controversies and scandals lately, no? Diyan mo makikita kung kung sino yung may long-term integrity, sino yung may long-term na yung kaya ang i-sustain yung pageant long term and nang hindi nasisira. Kasi there are, in my observation lately, there are some organizations na ang ganda-ganda ng patakbo on the first year and then pagdating sa second year, naglalako na. Or nawawala na yung integrity, nawawala yung prestige, nawawala yung quality in terms of candidates or dun sa productions. And I do hope na for, pageant entities, whether they're new or they're old, magawa nila ng paraan so that they can sustain their organization long term. That they think not only within the first 5 years, but 10 years and beyond. Danson, SNJHSM. Kaya ang secondary papiging ni Ilong Ranger ay magaganap sa December para may makubra na. It makes sense now. Hush, 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 hush. Saldi Salen, based on what you're saying, it makes me extremely excited. Seems like there will be a homecoming of sorts. If not, hopefully a big media organization would make a move. EJ Belge, I am not sure. Kasi yung question mo with regards to, okay, sige, basahin na lang natin yung comment ni EJ Belge. Kasi sabi niya, do you think drug money is involved in the next hosting of Miss Universe? The country is known for its drug lords and gangs, but at the same time, it's a developing country. I think we should give it the benefit of the doubt because hindi lahat ng mga third world countries or developing countries have all the infrastructure needed that we can find in developed countries like the US in terms of staging the pageant. But sometimes those developing countries, sila pa ngayon kung mas madalas yung may capability to host really exorbitant, extravagant na staging and productions and stage designs as compared to the US. Kasi based on my experience, whether it's Doral or it's the mezzanine in Planet Hollywood, I would take Thailand and Russia in 2013 in terms of their staging and their production over the 2015, 2017, 2014 na pageants held in the United States. So I'm pretty much on my end. I don't wanna make hasty judgments on that kasi hindi pa natin sure, but there is that constant fear, especially for countries na still on the developing side, to have that kind of, will this money be coming from a good source, legal source? Will this money be spent in such a way that it benefits the country long term? Is this money going to be used, to uplift the image of the country, or is it something that there is something illegal behind the scenes that's happening? So I do hope na those things are something that the local governments, the local national governments should be able to look into. That is why perhaps it makes more sense that it's the private entities, private businesses that fund the pageants in wherever locations that they are being hosted. Kasi mas, I believe, mas magiging malinis yung pera kung sakasakali. Nasa na tayo? Ambience Bliss, sabi niya. At Hajiev, MU licenses must return to old riches, the Aranetas and the royal family of Yogyakarta, Putri, Indonesia, if integrity and viability is at stake. Sabi ni Southeast Asian 101, I think GMA 7 will be a good franchise holder for MUPH. Nasa na ba tayo? Wait. Nag-move forward yung automatically na nag-move forward yung okay. Yikes. Okay, may interesting yung sinabi dito si John Snow 79. Sabi niya, not emotionally affected is equal to walang magwo-walk out. Upo. Ayan, John Snow, kaya tayo napapaaway eh. Okay, sabi ni EJ Bells, I find your Chinese lingo, it's my gay lingo, in Facebook, too hard to understand. Is there a simplified way or version of this language? Ito ang trick dyan. Basahin mo siya ng mabilisan. Tapos try mong isipin na Tagalog yung binabasa mo. Ayun, that's the only clue na pwede kong ibigay. Tapos bahal na kayong mag-decode kung paano nyo i-ano yun. I-decode o i-understand yun. Ambience Bliss says, that's why I really wanted BBP to claim back the license. They were sustained. They were able to sustain it for 56 years in spite of being a non-profit organization without the help of their parent org, or with the help of their parent org, the Araneta Group. Okay. Ping says, Sir Jason, pwede bang gumawa ng rule ang BPCI na single ladies lang ang pwedeng sumali at hindi sundin ang inclusivity ng MUO? That depends on that depends on the pag-uusap or the negotiation between BPCI and MUO. Because right now, I don't think that there is a flexibility because nakalagay dito kasi doon sa duties and responsibilities ng national national license holder is that the license holder should conduct a national pageant in the territory being licensed that meets all of our requirements, rules, and regulations. So if MUO is not willing to bend their rules for local organizations, and local organizations like BPCI are not willing, to make changes in their own rules locally to accommodate yung rules ng MUO, then I don't think that there is a partnership that is going to be fruitful between those two parties. So the best thing probably that Binibining Pilipinas can do is create a different pageant for Miss Universe Miss Universe Philippines, but that would essentially kill yung Binibining Pilipinas naman na brand name, and I don't think Aranetas would likely be doing that. So right now, I don't think there is a scenario in my head na magiging maganda yung yung transition back ng MUO to the Aranetas, because the Aranetas have their strict rules on Binibini, same thing as Miss Universe, so hindi lang siguro sila good fit as of this moment, but who knows, they might find a compromise, makahanap sila ng paraan that the Binibini brand name would still be something that they can take on for a different, local competition to find a representative for Miss U. So I don't know how the logistics of that is going to work, but I do hope na if both organizations want to work with each other once again, they would find a way to do that. Hello the universe, ang sabi niya is, time will come, si Kun-an ang mag-adjust for X. Araneta rules being legit rich is something she would just need to accept if that time comes na kunti na lang gustong mag-invest sa pageant niya na may pera. Sabi ni reply ni Ambience Bliss kay Ping, they could follow the current MUO rules as per single, divorced or mothers, but not for transgenders as the SOGI bill is still under phase. Pwede. Birgitta says, with what is happening in Indonesia, I wish that they retained Miss Universe Indonesia with Putri. I kind of feel that way as of this moment, but let's wait and see how the local authorities there are gonna investigate yung nangyayari. Nasa na ba tayo? Sir, okay. Ito comment ni Haji F. Sir, na-pick up na daw ng realtor ang issue sa baba. Parang the last time this happened was nung kay Trump pa regarding fat shaming kay Alicia Machado. Sana wake up call na ito kay Anne to really do due diligence. If that's the case, that this is now being picked up by international news organizations, then let's just wait for it to roll out before it becomes an international issues, as a major international issue. And doon pa lang natin makikita how strong the organization is under the leadership of Kun-an. Importante dito is how the organization manages these kinds of scandals. And what are they going to do to protect the women who felt harassed, who were sexually harassed, who were victims of what happened in the screening process, the judging process of MU-Indonesia. Because in as much as I do hope that this is something na hindi magka-issue sa kanila, because of previously there were strict rules on participating. I believe na in 1996 they had a Miss Indonesia in Miss Universe, but she cannot compete technically, but she was only there to partake with the experience, but cannot technically compete because she is not allowed to wear swimsuit or compete in a swimsuit. So let's wait and see how this is going to be developing, kasi this is going to be a litmus test on the leadership of Kun-an and Amy Emmerich, because kinakailangan hindi lang lip service yung kanilang pronouncement that we are an organization by women for women. So make this something that exhibits how strong is the MUO's resolve, because if this becomes an international incident, this will essentially be detrimental to the entire pageantry business as a whole. Because mas magiging it will become more of a sensationalized story once that the international news and news organizations pick this up, because alam naman natin, we feel it that the entire world looks down upon the pageant industry as a whole. So dito natin makikita kung gaano katatag ang leadership ng Miss Universe organization. If they are going to sweep this under the rug, like what katulad ng ginawa nila doon sa nangyaring allegations ng misbehavior ng asawa ni Crystal Stewart, or are they going to address this head on and condemn what has happened and condemn the people running the Miss Universe Indonesia organization for lapses in judgment. Ayan. Travel Junkie, hahaha, script lingo, expert na ako dyan. Sir, do you have any info? Magkano yung franchise ng other pageants? $10 million for 5 years while she bought it for 20 million. Overkill. Travel Junkie, I am not sure kung ano yung franchise na gusto mong malaman. Because the figures that I have are quite not updated. The Miss International organization, approximately around 2,000 to 5,000 US dollars yung kanilang base na fee for their franchise, for their franchises. Nasa 5,000 to 10,000 I believe ang sa Miss World at sa Miss Earth. Ang base fee naman ng Miss Universe allegedly is around 10,000. So 10,000 US dollars. So and according to other people, na those figures inflate dependent on the pageant craziness of the country who holds the license. So it will vary definitely. Hajiel says, nasa Newsweek online na rin po ang pangit ng headline, topless body checks at Miss Universe pageant sparks complaints. So yan, this is not going to this is not going to be an easy issue to resolve. This scandal is going to be just gonna blow out of proportion. So dito natin makikita yung leadership ni na Paula Sugart, Amy Emmerich, and Kun An on whether or not they can resolve, they can iron out this issue. Okay. John Snow 79, napanood mo na ba yung Q&A ni Vina sa MUT regarding harassment of women? English yung question, parang nagpatama MUT sa MUID. Yes, nabasa ko yon. I am glad that now I see that Vina is much more comfortable speaking in English. I think that's something that's very commendable for her. I think that now nakikitaan ko ng possibility that Vina can, win this thing over the other front runners. However, in terms of yung content ng kanyang sinabi, kung whether it's not a shade to the Miss Universe Indonesia organization, let's not colorize her statement as of this moment, because what she said is applicable to any organization that has scandal like that. So I think what she did is essentially to answer the question in the way that she knows how, and the way that she feels how to best reply to that question. So I don't think that there is something that we can read into, because I don't think there's really anything about about the content of her answer. I think if you put it in any other situation or in any other pageant, and most girls will probably say, something similar to what she said. So there. Okay. Nasaan na ba tayo? We are now at the last 2 points noong nung key points that I want to discuss with the Miss Universe National Director applications, because here it says here na dito mo makikita that the Miss Universe organization is still, at the end of the day, a business entity. That this is a for-profit organization. That this is a organization that is still, at the end of the day, at the end of the fiscal year, is going to be looking at their bottom line, at their revenues. Because in their duties and responsibilities na nakalahad for the national directors, it says here that the MD should pay the assigned license fee for your territory in a timely basis and comply with all the requirements listed in the on the license agreement always. And hindi ako, ito tatagalugin ko na para hindi tayo nagkakalituhan. Ito is probably born out of the situation where allegedly may mga countries, hindi ko na lang sasabihin kung ano, sino, na hindi on time ang pagbabayad ng kanilang um, franchise fee sa organization. And the organization would just let it slide kasi matagal na nila itong nakakasalamuha or may outstanding silang relationship with the head of the organization doon sa kanilang doon sa mismong Miss Universe organization. And I think with Kun An putting that in, it's drilling to the fact that this is not going to be your typical organization anymore. Kapag pera ng nag-uusapan, seryosong usapan na ito. Hindi na pwedeng yung dahil amiga mo yung asawa ni ganito sa Miss Universe organization, pwedeng kang malate ng ilang buwan bago magbayad ng financial responsibilities mo doon sa lisensya. Hindi na pwedeng ganon. So I think this very business-like tone gives you gives you a hint that this organization is a business at the end of the day. So you have to treat it much like a business as well. Dahil hindi sila kikita kung parati na lang silang paawa sa'yo. And I think that is the reason why a lot of the wordings in in their website, as well as the wording in their communication is very sharp, very business-like, very non-emotional. So kumbaga, wala nang sugarcoating yung sinasabi nila. They say what they mean, and kesa hodang masaktan ka doon sa verbiage nila or not, that's on you, not on them. Because what they want to happen is that they are going to give to you a no BS, no nonsense communication that lays out all of their expectations. Whether or not you want it to be pampered, whether or not you want it straight and direct, they're going to give it to you in such a way that it is explained there kung ano yung gusto nilang mangyari. And hindi sila mag-sugarcoat ng kanilang verbiage to you dahil nasasaktan ka dun sa sinasabi nila or the way that the wordings are delivered. Ikaw na yung mag-a-adjust. Ikaw na business partner na yung mag-a-adjust dun sa culture ng company ngayon. So I think that is one of the things that is very important. You really need to work, think, and behave like a business entity while dealing with the Miss Universe organization nowadays. And I think that is something na hindi lahat ng Pilipino or hindi lahat ng mga Asians or hindi lahat ng mga countries are very much used to. But you need to get used to this because ultimately what they want is for their organization to survive. Because kung merong scandal na mangyayari ngayon, this scandal could well be the scandal that would essentially drive off potential applicants. So, mas mabuti na ngayon na nila nilabas ito para ito yung this is our deal, take it or leave it. So, ganun yung pagkiramdam ko dito sa wording nila. It's not that they are being malicious or that they're being insensitive. It's just that this is the way for them to be able to express what are their requirements without colorizing or adding emotionally laden words into their verbiage. So if you are an applicant, you need to think like a businesswoman. because more importantly than now, you are going to be talking to business women as you deal with the Miss Universe organization, because the three people who are who are at the head of the organization are women. You have Paula Shogart, you have Kun An, and then you have Amy Emmerich. So you need to have that business-minded na, na, na mentality with you when you are dealing with them, because ultimately everything that you see in their national director application na page on their website is very business-like. The way that they list down yung kanilang mga expectations for the national director, the way that they list down yung mga steps on how to apply, kinakailangan talaga maintindihan mo na this is not going to be, hindi mo kayang idaan ito sa emotional na paano lang, pahimas-himas lang ng kanilang mga egos and ng kanilang emotions. You have to bring in, your data, your finances, and lay it out to them. How are you going to make sure that this organization under your leadership in your country is going to thrive? And the last thing that you need to be mindful of is that yung sinabi about that the final decisions is going to be made this December, which means that any national organization who would say that they have the licensing fee for 2024, they probably only have a conditional na license. Because if the final decision will only be made in December this year, ibig sabihin, meron kang temporary license ngayon for 2024, pero pwede pang mabago yan by end of the year. So you need to be very careful on this case, because if you are thinking of having partnership with local organizations saying that they already have the 2024 license, but that statement is contradictory to what the Miss Universe website says, that their final decision will only come in December of this year, then you need to be very careful on how do you want to move forward. Okay? Medyo marami na tayong napag-usapan. We've been talking for more than an hour na. So let's recap, or let's read more comments, and then let's wrap this up in a bit. Okay, saan na tayo? Nandito na tayo sa comment ni Salby, sa Len. Sabi niya, it's still a big taboo for DPCI married women, single mom, and transgenders. Not unless the Araneta's accede to the new rules of MU. I think MUPH won't be back to Quezon City. Bragita says, nako, paano yan? Chona May, na ginawang layaway plan ang MU license payment. Hello the Universe says, even though MU is the most popular and prestigious international pageant, kung di magta-translate into positive net gain sa local franchise, wala din. Case in point, I bet Arnetas gained a lot more sa P-pop kesa BBP. John Snow 79, what's your opinion regarding famous pageant pages na taga-baba not featuring or discussing the scandal? Hypothetical lang, what if scandal with the same magnitude happened to us? Required ba kayong mag-post? Okay, here's the thing. If something as big as this, it's impossible for pageant pages here in the Philippines not to tackle it, not to say something about it. I am not saying na papatusin ko agad. I will be very careful if I'm going to touch that subject. Kasi I want to know more about what's going on. I want to get the facts straight. I want to get more information about what's going on before I talk about it or post something about it. Kasi ang ayokong mangyari is that I don't say anything and it will be there will be people that who will make presumption na kaya hindi siya nagsasalita kasi ganito, kasi ganyan. So, I always try to be very careful. I always try to, have that journalistic integrity whenever there is a very sensitive topic that needs to be discussed. That is why I always do my due diligence to research, to read up about it. And if ang information na receive ko is in the territory na it's still a chichi, it's a rumor, I will make sure that I lay it out, but with the caveat that sasabihin ko na this is still within the rumor na territory. I will not say that this is a fact when it's not proven as a fact. I try as much as possible na maging maingat ako sa ganyan na pagkakataon. I am not saying na, if it happens in the future, na hindi ako magkakamali. Minsan, pwede rin akong magkamali when dependent on, the sources that I get my information from, on how accurate they get their information as well. So, it will be reliant on that. But I will always make sure that if I am not sure with the information that I've gathered, hindi ako muna full blast on it. This is the reason why nung naglabas yung friend ko na si Bradford Adkins about Miss Universe possibly happening here in the Philippines, I asked questions with him muna before ko maglabas ng information about it. I wanted to make sure that tama yung narinig niya, that bukod sa kanya, merong ibang magko-corroborate nung kanyang sinabi sa akin. So, and that is just me being careful because una sa lahat, ayoko yung sa akin nanggagaling yung kuryente dahil sa akin din naman ang balik. I don't want that I jump the gun before fact-checking. Kasi this is something that I have mentioned to one of our pageant colleagues, si Adam Henato, that if a scoop is too good to be true and you got it too fast, too convenient, and too easily accessible, you have to play the devil's advocate and think, what will this person be gaining if I made this story more public, more popular, and give it space in my feed? What will the other person gain from it? So I need to make sure that the scoops that I get should be something that is corroborated by maybe 2 or 3 na mga persons that have impeccable na track record with me when it comes to their scoops bago ako magsasalita. Kasi ayoko ng kuryente. I don't want that I will serve you with inaccurate news and updates. Hindi tayo ganon. I pride myself as someone, who discusses, relevant topics. And for a topic to become relevant, it needs to be factual, or it needs to have a level of, accuracy in terms of the details or the information there. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. There are some times that my brain, moves faster than my hand could type, na minsan nagkakamali ako ng naitatype ko, and sometimes even on replying on comments, yung kung ano yung mga magkakalapit na letters, yung O, yung I, yung U, kung minsan nagkakapalit ng placement or nagkakapalit ng napipindot. So I try as much as possible, to be careful whenever may mga ganitong scandal na nangyayari. And if hindi ko kayang sabihin in a very news na type of article or post, aasahan nyo, ilalagay ko siya on the Chichi territory. Doon, pwede akong maglagay ng mga impormasyon na sinabi ng aking mga sources na pwedeng totoo, pwedeng may konting pagkakamali, or pwedeng tainted by the perspective of the one involved. Kasi kung minsan, yung mga kwento nila nung mga sources ko, lalo na kung it's a first-hand na na experience for them, kung minsan it is tainted by their perspective. Kaya siya nakalagay doon sa Chichina territory because there is a possibility na hindi accurate lahat ito. So yun yung way in order for me to be able to to separate itong mga scandals on the way how I treat it. Okay? So if in case na magkaroon tayo ng ganito kalaking issue moving forward, imposible na hindi natin yan pag-uusapan. It's nearly impossible that me or any of our colleagues will keep mum about it like what the large Indonesian na mga pageant portals are doing as of this moment. There is and I understand their perspective because yung kultura nila revolves around saving face. Ayaw nila na napapahiya sila, and this is something that's going to be very shameful in the eyes of the international pageant community na nangyari sa kanila. So I think that is the reason why they're not talking about it, because perhaps in their thinking, if we don't talk about it, it will just go away. So yun lang naman. Okay, last two comments. Bergito and Hello the Universe. Sabi ni Bergito, I think for MUO transgender participation in the respective nationals is contingent with the candidate's gender is changed in her papers. Wala pa namang transgender law sa Pilipinas to change gender. I agree there should be a law first that would recognize, trans women and trans men, and their genders, and make it legal before we can even talk about them participating in national pageants. And even if they are allowed in national pageants later on, the judging na process should also try to accommodate yung mga changes na ito. Especially kung especially kung there is special mga special treatments dun sa iba dun sa mga transgender versus the cisgender. So kinakailangan it would be fair for both na types of women. Ayan. And I think this is a debate that's going to still take a long time before we become, we have, a legal, legal basis on it. Kasi, guys, tandaan niyo, there are only two remaining countries in the world that doesn't allow divorce. That's the Philippines and the Vatican City. So, kung dun pa lang na law, hindi umuusad ang Pilipinas, how much more itong legal recognition for the transgender na community. Medyo mahaba-haba pa itong proseso. So, baka mauna pang magkaroon ng diborsyo sa Pilipinas kesa i-recognize ng bansa natin yung LGBTQ na mga genders and make them legal. So, it would take patience for this to happen. That's my take. Okay, I do hope na we or our politicians, the people who will vote on this, would do what is best for the Filipino people. Okay? Hello the Universe. Sabi niya, to sum it all, at this moment, we need GMA7 to have the franchise in the Philippines. be long-standing, money, integrity, flexibility, adapt new roles, not directly political. So there. Thank you very much for, this very productive and very informative na discussion with you guys. I'm very grateful for everyone who commented. Before we end pala our live stream, please do leave a like dito sa ating live stream, so that mas marami pa ang makakita, mas marami pa yung mag-participate sa atin in our future live streams, and it will help grow the channel. So I do hope that everyone hindi kayo masyado nagulantang sa ating pa-live stream ngayon dahil this is a very last minute na live stream, and I do hope na itong discussion natin mas naliwanagan tayo doon sa process ng application ng national directors. Okay? At huwag tayong magpagoyo doon sa mga misinformation na kumakalat na meron ng may lisensya for 2024 when it's clear and very very much stated in the Miss Universe website na sa December pa sila magpa-finalize. So there. Mga nakahabol, Lemuel 23.5, pasensya na. We're ending our live stream in a bit. Multidocs is here. Sabi niya, shout out from Mississippi. Multidocs 1, I am sorry you came in late, but I do hope you and Lemuel would just rewatch the replay of our video this evening. Thank you very much for everyone's attendance and participation. Marami sa inyo very alive, awake, and enthusiastic dun sa ating live stream today. And I do hope that in Saturday you would join me again for our regular live stream session. Okay, that's it. Again, please do leave a like, a thumbs up in our live stream today. See you again next week. Take care and have a very productive week. Wednesday tomorrow. Okay, bye everyone and take care.